Word count 1900, Part 1. Part 2 will continue and complete the story with another 1700 plus words. It started with a letter. Not a digital message, not a text or an email, but a real, tangible envelope, yellowed at the edges, sealed with a wax stamp that bore a strange emblem, a broken hourglass and an eye. Oliver Hayes was just days away from turning 35, a quiet man in a noisy city. Living in Chicago, he worked as a digital archivist for a publishing firm, a job that required minimal social contact and zero emotional investment. His life was tidy, uninspired, and most importantly, predictable. So when the letter arrived without a return address, with his full name written in a sharp, almost aggressive cursive, it rattled him more than he cared to admit. He opened it carefully. To Oliver James Hayes, heir to the house on Fernhill Road. You are hereby summoned to claim your inheritance. The estate awaits your arrival. No legal contest shall be permitted. Time is limited. Come alone. The executors of the Fernhill Trust. That was it. No phone number, no email. Just an address at the bottom. Fernhill Road. A place Oliver had never heard of. He laughed at first. Some kind of scam, surely. But a quick online search proved that the address existed. It was a manor, built in 1891, located in a remote region of West Virginia, nestled deep in the Appalachian woodlands. Oliver didn't know anyone in West Virginia. He'd never been there, never even driven through. But curiosity is a powerful thing. A few days later, he was in a rental car, driving into thick green wilderness, GPS spotty, radio silent. The house loomed like a memory. Fernhill Manor was enormous, Victorian in architecture, with ivy strangling most of its stone exterior. The iron gate creaked open as though it had been waiting. The driveway was a winding, leaf-strewn path, surrounded by weeping trees that seemed too still for summer. No caretakers. No lawyers. No staff. Just the house. Oliver stepped out, holding the letter and his suitcase, and walked up the cracked steps. The double doors opened on their own. Inside, the house was alive. Not in a haunted, horror movie way, not yet, but something about it pulsed. He felt it. The air was too thick. The light too dim, even with open curtains. And there was that smell. Not rot, not mold, but oldness, like pages of a forgotten book left buried. He wandered from room to room. Grand halls, broken chandeliers, peeling wallpaper. Each space more elaborate and strange than the last. One had portraits with faces scratched out. Another had a collection of clocks. All stopped at 3:33. In the study, he found a journal. His name was on the first page. If you're reading this, Oliver, then I'm gone. And you're in danger. Don't trust the house. It remembers everything, especially the lies. The signature at the bottom read, Reginald Hayes. His grandfather's name. Except, Oliver had no grandfather. His father had always claimed he was orphaned young. There was never any mention of grandparents. He dropped the journal as a sudden cold shot through his spine. The fireplace crackled to life without a match. That night, he tried to sleep in what looked like the master bedroom. The sheets were surprisingly clean. The bed was made. There were clothes in the closet in his size. That should have alarmed him more than it did, but exhaustion dulled the fear. At 3:33 a.m., the clocks chimed. Every clock. At once. He shot up in bed, heart pounding. From down the hall, he heard footsteps. Soft, deliberate. Then a voice, whispering through the keyhole. You're not the first. Oliver flung open the door. The hall was empty. But at the end of it, the portrait gallery now had a new frame. A freshly painted one. And in it, a portrait of him. Painted in oil. Eyes too real. He stumbled backward, hands shaking. Suddenly, the walls seemed to breathe. He ran back into the room, slammed the door, locked it. But the key turned from the outside. Someone or something had locked him in. Fog, the house, and its memory. In the days that followed, he explored. He had no choice. The house seemed to change when he wasn't looking. Doors vanished. Hallways stretched longer. Rooms that weren't there before appeared. He found letters from other Hayeses. One dated 1923, written by a woman named Eleanor Hayes. Another from 1955, addressed to someone named Thomas Hayes. All said the same things. Don't listen to the whispers. The mirror knows. Leave before the house chooses you. Each one signed with shaky hands, ink smudged as if they'd written in fear. He began hearing music at odd hours, an old gramophone playing a waltz. Sometimes laughter. Childlike but hollow. Once, he opened a door that led to a stone basement with dozens of clocks, all ticking, even the ones he knew were broken. And every time he saw a mirror, his reflection was slower than him, lagging behind by a second, then two, then smiling when he didn't. He stopped looking in mirrors. Scroll a darker secret. On the fourth night, he found a hidden passage behind the fireplace. It led to a spiral staircase, descending into darkness. He took a lantern, heart thundering. What he found at the bottom wasn't a cellar. It was a room filled with portraits. Hundreds, maybe thousands. All of people who looked vaguely like him, variations of hair, skin tone, dress, but similar faces. All dated, some from the 1800s. In the center of the room was a single chair. On it, a book, bound in skin. Human. When he touched it, it hissed. The room trembled. He fled. That night, he heard breathing in his room that wasn't his own. The fireplace lit itself again. On the mirror, written in ash, "The house remembers the bloodline." Oliver couldn't sleep. The book, bound in what he now feared was human skin, still pulsed in his memory. When he touched it, it had grown warm, alive. He sat in the study with Reginald Hayes's journal open before him. The pages had changed. New words appeared overnight, answers written in handwriting that wasn't his grandfather's. "You are the last Hayes. The pact is incomplete. The house will not die unless the cycle ends." The next page had a sketch. A sigil, same as the wax seal on the letter. A broken hourglass and a watching eye. He had seen that symbol before. In the mirror room. In the wood carvings above every door. Hidden in the floral wallpaper. It was everywhere. And then below the symbol the words, "Only blood opens the truth. Only death seals it." He slammed the book shut. The house groaned in reply. Drop of blood, the hidden room. He returned to the hidden basement the next day, this time determined. He brought a knife from the kitchen, just in case. The walls were covered in portraits, now with names written underneath. All Hayes. Every single person who had lived in this house was part of his family tree, yet no one in his life had ever spoken of them. Not his parents. Not a single relative. In the far corner of the room, he found a small iron door. It was sealed shut. Above it, in faded gold letters, "The Room of Remembrance." It wouldn't open until he pricked his finger on the edge of the knife and smeared blood on the handle. The door clicked. Inside was a single wooden chair, like a throne, and a mirror taller than any he'd seen before. Its frame was made of bone. The moment he stepped inside, the mirror shimmered and showed a vision. The pact. He saw a younger Reginald Hayes, perhaps in his 30s, seated in the very same chair. Surrounding him were 7 others, all members of the Hayes family, chanting in an unknown language. The walls trembled. A voice filled the room. Ancient, feminine, cruel. A child for power. A soul for time. A bloodline for eternity. Reginald nodded. He handed over an infant. The image flickered. Now Reginald was older, gray-haired. Alone. Whispering into the mirror. Let the debt pass to the next. Let the house live. The pact was simple. The Hayes family had bartered their descendants in exchange for protection, power, and unnatural longevity. Each generation offered one heir to the house. The house consumed their time, their soul, and added their memory to its walls. That was why the portraits existed. Why the clock stopped at 3:33, the hour of the original pact. Why the mirrors were alive. Each mirror was a window and a prison. Candle, the mirror speaks. As Oliver stared, the mirror changed, now reflecting him. But his reflection smiled. "You understand now," it said, lips not moving. You were never meant to leave. Oliver stumbled back. You are the final sacrifice, the mirror whispered. The house is dying. Without blood, it will collapse. Without memory, it will forget itself. Suddenly, the chair behind him dragged itself forward. The door slammed shut. The mirror darkened, and the faces of all his ancestors began to appear within it. Some weeping, some screaming. Reginald's face appeared last. Forgive me, Oliver, he whispered. I chose survival. You must choose truth. Then he was gone.
Hold escape.
Oliver snapped out of his trance and ran. The house fought him. Hallways twisted. Doors reversed. Paintings moved. His own portrait now blinked as he passed it. He found himself in the kitchen. All the knives gone. The windows brick shut. He remembered the journal. Reginald had written everything down. The book might have the answer. In the study, he opened it again. The last page now had fresh ink. The house must forget to die. Burn the room of remembrance. But you must stay, or it will return. A choice. Destroy the house, but remain trapped in it forever. Or leave and let someone else in the bloodline become the next offering. Fire the end of Fernhill. He went to the room of remembrance with a can of old kerosene and a box of matches. His hands trembled as he poured it around the throne and mirror. The faces in the glass screamed silently. He struck the match. Flames swallowed the room instantly. The mirror cracked. A wave of screams echoed through the house. The ground shook. Paintings caught fire. Doors flew off hinges. The house roared like a wounded animal. He ran through fire and falling beams, back to the front door. It was open now. He crossed the threshold just as the house collapsed behind him. Sunrise over Mountains epilogue. 1 year later. A year passed. Oliver lives in a small apartment in Oregon now. No mirrors. No clocks. Just silence. But some nights, at 3:33 a.m., he wakes up sweating. Because in the corners of his vision, the mirrors shimmer. The house may be gone, but its memory lingers.